Hello and welcome to the Best View Expo. I'm Patricia Jo Grover, the Goal Achievement Strategist. And with me today I have
Michelle Faust, and I'm a storytelling strategist.
and we want to thank Michelle Colley for having us share her booth with her. Now, August 1st through the 7th is the Best You Expo, and this is a virtual Los Angeles Expo because what we have going on with COVID-19, it is virtual. Chelsea is the author of Be a Life Breather, and you can contact Chelsea. Her information is www.chelseacolley@360.com, and you can text gift box to 26786 to order. And so we're coming back, and so Michelle, I wanted to say, you and I met through what we're doing with our own businesses, and I, as a goal achievement strategist, really needed your services to help me move on further with my business. So let's talk about this a little bit. How you and I, the things that we work with clients doing, benefit to serve people.
Well, I think what it really boils down to, especially with you and I, is that what I do is I help people dig down into their story, what they have lived through. Sometimes they have many things that they might have gone through, but we are who we are because of the experiences that we have had. So you contributed to my magazine, Lemonade Legend Magazine, because you wanted to understand better why you do what you do. And through that process, I think you really came up with some amazing things from your past. You have gone through quite a bit, if I may say. But what it did, what I saw coming through was such clarity that you were able to really, you knew why you were doing what you do, but you were able to see with much more clarity, with much more purpose, I think, why you do what you do. When you saw that chronological story unfold.
And it is true. It is true. We all are who we are because of what we've experienced. For the good, the bad, the ugly, it molds us to the people that we are today. And the things that we have can be something that you can find power from. And that's truly, putting those words down, and like you said, in the chronological order, even though that is my history, that is my past, until I put it down like that, I didn't have the remembering and I want to say the remembrance of things, because some small things elude you. But when you get those things down, and it wasn't until after I had gone back and was trying to cut things down to fit into the magazine that aha came to me. And remember, I sent you a special little note saying, oh my goodness, I did not realize,
Yeah.
what this opened and for me. And that is so true. So true.
Yeah, oftentimes I hear people say, my past does not define me. And I do understand what they're saying. When somebody says that, they're saying their past is not a label. It does. They are not the label of I was a rape victim, or I suffered eating disorders, or there's so many things out there, but you know what I mean. So yeah, they're right. It's not a label, but it does define you in the sense of how it shapes you. It defines you in the way of how you develop your characteristics, your values, your passion. All of that really does come from where you've been.
So true. And I would have to say, from learning, and how I learned through my life is I learned that I did not want to live a life or have a life like I had as a child. So I learned that I needed to make different choices and decisions for that to be different. And that's why I say those are things that design our destiny. And from day one, whatever you choose, And that's where it comes with mindset, whatever mindset you're going to choose to have to be able to move you forward in a positive way. And people need to realize that.
You used one of my favorite words, choice.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, we can choose. We can decide to choose courage. We can choose that we want to be positive, that we are going to make the lemonade out of our lemons in our life. It is about choice, and I just I feel like people too oftentimes look at it black and white. I can go right or I can go left. Well, even that is a choice. Some people only think they can go left and they don't have any other choices.
That's
But
true.
you can expand even beyond that. It's not just right and left. There might be hundreds of different directions, just slightly different variations that you might be able to take. And it really is all about choice.
It is, and that's where you and I both we love what we do, and we love serving people, and so that's our spreading the love is what is all about that we do. There's no ands ifs or buts about it. And what we do, you empowered me by actually putting that down. That was a way for me to release that, knowing no ands ifs or buts. I am meant to be doing what I'm doing. So and what I do is I empower people to know that they are worthy, that they are capable, and that they're not in this alone. And putting these plans together can help them achieve their dreams and goals with the system I have for them. So I, it's all in for us to follow our hearts, and whatever is inside of us is still there for a reason. I tell my clients, if they have had dreams and goals, that if they had them as a child and they're still having them now, there's a reason they're still there. And I know you can tell that when you're working with people with stories, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think empowerment, you might think this is a little funny for me to say, but empowerment comes from vulnerability. And the
Oh,
reason why is that you have to be a little vulnerable to share your story because
yeah,
you're being open, you're being raw,
that's
you're
true.
authentic. And so with that comes that vulnerability. But if you allow yourself to be vulnerable, then you can say to yourself, I survived that. I was a little afraid,
That's true.
but that's me, and I'm okay, and I'm stronger because of that. And it becomes a very empowering process. The more you are able to share your story, the more you are able to um, take it to another level. Because even with you, Patti, you shared a short piece of your story in the magazine,
Right.
but that allowed you to really start that process and from a business standpoint develop your why and your purpose, and that's where you're at right now. At some point in time, uh, you have an amazing story to share, and you will get to that place that you will share it in a much deeper way to inspire people and to own that space that you're in, and then you're going to be super empowering people.
Well, I did. Now you missed it, but on the 25th, I did share from stage at the expo, and that was actually helping into understanding one's purpose, finding one's purpose, understanding in their why, and uncovering it, and then being able to add in the sensory vision and how that all ties together to be able to achieve dreams and goals. Because it's amazing how it all works. It really does.
Yeah, so if we can dial it back just a little bit,
Yeah.
because I really want people to understand why we're having this conversation and why it's so
Yes.
important to have our why. Um, And I think most business owners and entrepreneurs understand the meaning of why. But here's what differentiates businesses from their competition, and it is the why. Because, and this has been studied over and over again, people don't buy what you have, they don't buy how you bring it to them, they buy because of the why.
Right.
And I think the old Pepsodent commercial from back in the early 20s was a real that actually was a defining moment in marketing. It, for anybody who's not familiar with it, they said about marketing just on the features and benefits. Your teeth will be much whiter. Um, you know, your breath will be fresher. Back then, people didn't brush their teeth, so it didn't mean anything to them. So they were basically touching on something that did not mean anything for somebody to rush out and go buy Pepsodent. So they completely changed it around, and put they put the feelings out there of how are you going to feel, when you brush your teeth with this amazing powder that is going to, make you feel um, your breath is bright and fresh. And anyway, I don't remember. I'm paraphrasing
Yeah.
totally. But the point is they didn't just talk about whiter teeth or healthier teeth. They made that person resonate with the whole idea. And
Right.
that was when marketing really kind of took off with this understanding how powerful that marketing can be. And since then, we have shifted and trended even more to where now we aren't trying to present people as being perfect when you're
Right.
marketing.
Right.
Because you know what? We used to want to be in, the guys in the fancy suit and the ladies in the $300 shoes, and because we equated success with perfection. And that's no longer the case. Now people are successful because they share their story, because they allow people to take a peek into their life
Right.
and know who they are so they can make that connection with
Right.
that person.
I totally understand the authenticity that's involved in that, the human emotion, the raw human emotion that people express can make you be able to connect with them so much better.
Absolutely.
Right, right. And then, so one of the things that you said actually made me think of something is how somebody describes something when they're doing their marketing is also part of what I teach with the sensory vision for being able to achieve dreams and goals. If somebody can feel it, smell it, taste it, touch it, when they see themselves having achieved that dream and goal, that's how they can connect all that passion that they see and feel for that to what they want. And by knowing that and having that connection, it makes it easier for them to keep struggling because they have to have that that courage and consistency to carry on. And having just when they close their eyes, if they can almost, again, if they can close their eyes and if they can see it, if they can smell it, if it's that close and real for them, that makes getting through those tough times so much easier.
Without a doubt.
Yes.
And I think too it's important to say that, yeah, I use the term lemons obviously because lemons lemonades, right?
Right.
That's those are the stories that I promote. But the thing is, there's never one lemon. So most of the time, it's kind of a there's something bigger and your true issue, that you have overcome. But here's the thing, you're going to have another lemon come in your life, and you're going to have another lemon come in your life. So, what you just said about making yourself stronger, like being able to envision your dreams and your
Yes.
goals, that is what helps you. It's the anchor in the storm, it keeps you going. I like to say that vision, a strong vision, is stronger than fear. So if you hang on to that, then you'll be able to take those steps that get you past that lemon into the lemonade.
Right, right, and true. When you said uh, about that fear, it, everybody has them. It's nobody is uh, negative of fear. Everybody can have fears, and some fears actually are there to deter you. But some fears you can learn from so much that they can fuel you to move forward. And it's to really break them down to understand so we can get the most out of them.
Yeah, I think I'll share with you a little bit of my story of really being attached to the word fearless. I loved it because I lived with fear most of my life. And as I've gotten older, just a little bit more mature, I started to feel like I'm fearless. And so I was kind of attached to that word in a very positive way until I realized there is no such thing as being fearless. We're always going to live with fear in our lives. So even though I felt fearless in what I was doing with my work, jumping into the entrepreneurial world, things like that, of course I'm always going to be fearful that something might happen to my children or my husband, or I could lose my home. Not that I expect to, but you never know.
Right.
So I did come to the realization that the word fearless just simply doesn't exist. But we can have a fearless attitude, and we can live our lives in a way that we know how to manage fear and we can conquer it, but we're never going to be without it.
Right. And then actually some fears are actually good because if you yeah, and really thinking about this, if you know something is if you're going to touch it, you're going to get burned, then that's a good fear. It's protecting you from something that's immediate obvious. It's not something that's going to stop you from, it's understanding again just that. So it's not it people get so um caught up in fears, and that's just again the breaking them down will really make a difference. So I really wanted to ask, what is it that made you follow your heart into this career? What was it, Michelle?
Well, that's a great question. It's a little bit complex, so I'll try to give you the nutshell version. Um, but it was feeling that bit of fearless attitude I had because I went from a place where I was fearful. So I have a severe hearing loss. I've carried that throughout my entire life. I tried to hide it. I don't know why I thought I could hide it, but I did. I tried to hide it from kids in school, and you know how mean they are. So instead of saying I have a hearing loss, they just kind of, I don't know, had a perception that I was stupid. I'm not sure what their perception was, but I just wanted to present myself as normal, as perfect. So I just tried and tried and tried. And again, I disappointed myself because I couldn't be perfect. And I carried that into my career. Um, I was able to get a job in sales in pharmaceuticals, and it was really, really successful. But I felt like a fraud. So I definitely had that imposter syndrome about me. And then 20 years later, when I was still riding the wave of success, I was fired. It happens in pharma. It's just such a typical thing in pharmaceuticals, probably in most corporate jobs. But I was devastated because I just didn't know where to go from there. And not being able to jump back into that world after just a lot of pain, a lot of reflection, and a lot of tears, I started my own business in content writing. And at some point in time, I felt like I wanted to tell my story because I felt like here I am, somebody who I thought couldn't measure up all my life. And now I was in the entrepreneurial world and I was meeting amazing people, and they were interested in what I had to say and what I could do. So that was the precursor for me putting together the book, The Lemonade Stand, which was 18 other women and myself writing a chapter on our lemon to lemonade story. And originally, I thought that that would be it. One and done. I'd be able to say I fulfilled my dream. I always wanted to publish a book, and so that was going to be it. And instead, I turned over all my clients to my partner and said, "I know what I'm doing. I I need to help women be heard, to for them to share their story, to be empowered, to tell their story from their heart." That experience of putting that book together and working and collaborating with those 18 other women and their stories, and they had amazing stories. I just, I cannot tell you how empowering and
Right.
how absolutely incredible the experience was. And I didn't want to step away from that again. So that's now my platform. So I help women to share their stories. And you know what? I would love to help men share their stories too, but they don't come to me.
But
So
they
guys out there,
exactly, guys may, and again, the more that they see that it happens and the difference it makes in people's lives, you know, men will talk to other men about things, but they have a harder time opening up and being real with women.
they do. And here's the other thing that I found too is that women are much more likely to take the negative experience they might have had and turn it into something positive.
That's true.
Whereas oftentimes, uh,
Oh,
they don't necessarily shift their way of thinking so that they can become a better person from it. And I'm saying that in generalistic terms, but it's been my experience that it's women who come forward, it's the women who want to heal, they want to share, they want to be heard. But it's also because women typically are more likely to be victimized through a rape or abuse or um, emotional abuse and marriage, all kinds of things. And it's interesting because when you're in a situation like that, the number one thing I think that is felt is that when you're in victim mode, is that you can't be heard, is that your voice is being suppressed. And so that's why I emphasize so much in what I do is that I'm allowing women to be heard and to share their voice and inspire other people. And that's spreading love. That's
exactly.
spreading love because you're going out there and sharing your story in hopes that it touches somebody else and that they feel that love and the nurturing and the strength to go ahead and share their story. You wouldn't believe
Exactly.
how many women will say, "I thought I was alone. I didn't know anybody else was out there like that." Which is kind of crazy because you look at the world and you know that there are people that, millions of people in similar situations. But honestly, when you're in it, when you're in that forest,
Right.
that's all you just feel like you're there and you're alone. And so sharing your story is an incredibly powerful thing
Yes,
to do.
and empowering for yourself and others to hear. You know, it does. And sharing that story is empowering for oneself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
without a doubt. So I mean, I could go on for hours and hours and
Yeah.
hours on this. But you know me, I get pretty
Yeah.
passionate about
Yeah,
it.
but that's, that's what this is all about, and sharing this with people, because we do want to encourage and we do want to empower women and men as well, but it is all about that. Um for me, following my heart, and my story, I didn't realize there was some pieces missing until I put together the story for your magazine. And just a quick piece on that is, and what I went back to and said, Michelle, I learned that from having to help my mother take the curlers out of her hair and pin curls out of her hair, and comb it out and make her look beautiful. And I would do that and make her look beautiful during the day. And but she would cry, She would cry because she wouldn't allow herself to feel good about herself because my father would not allow that. We had to do that while my father was at work. And then before he came home, we'd have to wash her hair and put it back in the pin curls or rollers before he got home. That's the way that she had to look all the time. And so from that, and I didn't realize how all that tied together because I went to high school and beauty school at the same time and graduated the senior year of high school and became a licensed cosmetologist all at the same time. And looking back, the whole career choice I made through that path with becoming a licensed cosmetologist and a registered massage practitioner, having working for skincare and cosmetic companies, and then managing over 400 women in with a Fortune 500 company dealing with skincare and cosmetic products, and then having my own private label of skincare and cosmetics, really, and thinking of all that and how all this ties together with what I do today, and why, again, that is coming from my heart because that's my purpose. That's my purpose, is to help women, primarily women, feel better about who they are and help them be able to get out of situations that they may be in because I'm able to help them come outside the box that they've put themselves in or allowed other people to put them in so that they can reach their full potential and live their best life. And that so ties in with why we're here today talking about the Best You Expo. This is what it's all about.
Beautiful. Whenever I'm hearing somebody's story, I almost want to cry.
Well, you know,
I, I've shed a few tears doing this job.
yes, exactly. But again, it's that, not that it's not any easier, because I still get emotional when I talk about it because it was real and it happened. But if I heard that for somebody else saying that same thing, because it is real, it is real. And, thinking of that, I didn't use that, and I don't ever say and share what I share to gain sympathy or pity. It is,
Yeah.
it is to say, and my whole story. So that I haven't let anything hold me back. I am all about being able to live my own life and my own dreams and having the life that I choose to have. But it took a while to get there, and
Yeah.
sometimes, like I shared with you, all the stuff I went through as a child followed me through into adulthood. And it wasn't until after I had been married and divorced 3 times and took 9 years to learn how to know, like, trust, and actually love myself before I was able to. And at that point, that's where everything and all the notes that I started taking to write
Yeah.
my book came from. All the stuff when I compiled everything that I had learned from my life.
Well, and let me dig a little bit deeper, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the story of making your mother beautiful and that leading to cosmetology school and your line of makeup, all those things, that's a real obvious path, okay? But you're not doing that today
No.
because I believe that you understood at that point, even though you loved it and your experience had led you into all of that, you knew you weren't going to live your dream as a cosmetologist.
Right.
So that led then to the different businesses, even surrounding beauty and well, it was around beauty and makeup and feeling,
Right.
the best you can be. But you did that in a corporate way. You did that by owning your own business. You did that by working in network marketing. You did it in so many different types of businesses that you became the expert in being a goal achieving strategist. I mean,
Right.
that's really the story.
Right. Right.
One
I
thing
didn't.
led to another
Yeah.
thing led to another thing.
Right. And so that was, and that's, I guess I have a harder time tooting my own horn. And but you know my story, so you know it was there, and that's what I did, and I went through all those struggles to get where I am. So that is why I am able to, and I feel comfortable. I know that I have that. It's just tooting your own horn sometimes isn't the easiest thing to do.
We need to learn how to toot our horn.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We
There.
really do. I mean, so here's the thing. So you and I are also a part of the Women's Empowerment 2020 conference coming up on August the 6th,
Yes.
August the 6th. And so the theme of that was Ignite Your Confidence. So here's what I say about confidence is that confidence comes from self-love. Confidence comes from feeling empowered, and confidence
Yep.
is lead to leadership, and it lead to being an influencer. And my point around all this, and I tell this a lot because there are studies on this, men are more likely to be promoted because they are perceived to have a higher level of confidence. And why is that? Because we're not raised to toot our own horn. We're not raised to say, this is who I am. I'm accomplished and I'm powerful and I can do so many amazing things.
That's true.
No, stay humble. And being humble is okay to a point. But if you're not allowing yourself to toot your horn, you're going to get passed over. So I think it's a balance. How do we find that balance between showing confidence but still being a little humble about it?
Right. Right.
Not an easy thing to do.
Right. Right. And yeah, and it is a struggle that, I still have at this point, but I don't have imposter syndrome. I don't have that because I definitely know who I am and what I'm meant to be, and what I'm doing. But it's the tooting of the horn that I'm still working on. So awesome that, and thinking of it that way, Michelle, actually, it does. It brings things into perspective more. Definitely.
But just it's a learning process, and I'm hoping we in our generation are really having to learn that. I'm hoping that the generation coming up will be raised in such a way that they are more comfortable with showing who they are and showing up for themselves and being real and authentic. Because if we can't be real, who are we? I, I don't know. I just think that we are all so perfectly and uniquely imperfect, and that is what makes people so interesting and so lovable and it's just amazing in their own way because we all have our challenges, and if we set the mindset to empower ourselves to get past that, then that in and of itself makes us pretty amazing.
It sure does. And what I like to teach is that, when it comes to comparisons, we're not in a competition with anyone else. The best thing that we can do is always try to keep ahead of ourselves, because we are our own worst critics, our own worst enemies. And that's where we need to worry and keep our focus on staying ahead of. And, like we were talking about the Empowerment Summit that we were both a part of, was my word, because we had our favorite F words. And my F word was focus, and I said, we can become empowered and gain strength by keeping focus on positive movement towards the future, and really breaking things down to the point so that we can just take that one bite at a time, one chunk at a time. So it's not so overwhelming, because so many people looking at, what they're going to do right now with everything that's going on. How are they going to make things happen? And it just right now seems so big and ominous over their heads, saying, wow, how are we all going to get out of this? And where am I going to make, where's my end going to be at this point? Because so many of us, the unknowing is very scary. But as long as we are moving forward one step at a time, we're all going to get where we need to be. It's just, we just don't know the time.
Well, you just said something very key. It is unknown. There is an uncertainty. So we're wasting energy and brain cells when we're worrying about how we are going to tackle tomorrow when we don't know what tomorrow will be. So we need to have vision, we need to have those goals, but we need to be able to adapt to what's around us and to not stress so much. We simply we set that vision, and if all of a sudden we see ourselves having quarantine for another 4 weeks, even though we're all about ready to slit our throats because of it, well, you have to shift that mindset then to go, okay, that's not going to take me away from my goal, because by having to focus by being at the home, within my home, then what are the things that I can do sitting at my computer, not having distraction, not wasting time getting in my car to drive somewhere? How do I optimize that time? So the goal and the vision doesn't change,
No.
but what you're doing today may change.
Exactly, exactly. And I teach people this, how to build their plans. This, we've all heard of smart plans, but I teach people how to build the smarter plans, because they have to be editable and revisable, because we know life happens to every single one of us, whether we're ready for it or not. And that's what happened with this whole situation. So we have to be able to. And how many of us as entrepreneurs, or the whole world, have had to pivot and do different shifts with what we've done, not only with our lives but with our businesses. And we're still, some of us are still in the process of doing that, trying to make, again, take those lemons and make lemonade. And it's a constant process. Everything is a constant process, but you need to look at it in people with looking at it from a positive mindset rather than the negative, because that's what makes all the difference. you know
Well, and I think, and I know this is so much a part of what you do with your clients, is having that vision. Just have the vision, stay anchored in the vision. Allow that to be the magnet that pulls you through, gets
yes,
you to the other side, and you will. Don't let that vision, get swept away in the storm. Got to hang on to it.
exactly, exactly. So how how are you moving forward? I know you're doing all kinds of exciting things with your book and with the magazine, but I know, you've been working on some other things here and there. So what are your dreams for your business? What are your dreams and goals for your business?
Well, I'll tell you, I like to think big. Um, my dream is to become the largest communication network distribution platform in the world. So,
Okay.
so what's that
Yeah, what
mean?
does that mean? How? Because I again, you helped me get all the stuff from my mind onto paper, and I learned from that, and I know the value. I know the value of what you do, Michelle, and I can tell anyone. Yes, if you have a story to tell, see Michelle. Hey, that rhymes, but
Thank you.
if you have a story to tell Michelle. No, but
Ah,
how can you explain to me what it is that you're?
Yeah, I will, because essentially what I saw from the lemonade stand was there was so much excitement around that. Lots of people saying, I love the concept, but I can only serve so many people in a book. I can get a book out, maybe twice a year, and I can only have so many authors in it. So I knew I needed something bigger than that. But the concept is always behind sharing your story.
Right.
And everybody has different budgets. Everybody has different goals of what they want to do with it. So that means that the Lemonade Stand book 2 is in the process of being written, and which we're still looking for a few more authors. And I have a Lemonade Legend magazine, so that's a real simple way to sort of tiptoe out there and put your story out there. And I have my podcast and publishing services. So I've got 4 books that I'm publishing right now. For people who said I have more than a chapter, I got a whole book. So I have Lemonade Legend Publishing, and here's the most exciting thing: I am thrilled to say I am going to be a producer of a TV show called Lemonade Life, and that will be coming out in the fall. So it's all about just creating as many platforms as possible. And virtual events too. We'll be doing 4 of those every year. So who knows? It might get bigger than that. I don't know. Right now, that's as much as I can have on my plate.
Right, but again, even amongst all this stuff that we're going through with the pandemic, look at you and having those dreams and goals. And you're not again, you're living
Yeah,
outside the box and you're thinking outside the box with what you are doing, and you're moving even the littlest bit at a time towards achieving those dreams and goals. So kudos, and that's fabulous, and I can see your vision with you and for you, because I can see that happening for you, and it makes all kinds of sense. And 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 what I tell my clients, because I have been I try to think of the word. I've put this on myself because with everything we've had going on and all the shifts and everything, I've put so much on my plate. And sometimes, like when you said, putting it's all that you can handle right now. And realizing that's the important thing to realize, that is for us not to pile it on too much at one time, because then it's like nothing gets done. We get overweight, we self sabotage. And recently I had done that to myself. And it's really at that point, then I have to go back, and I have to go back to the basics of what I teach my clients. And I was breaking those rules, and I was. So, but again, having to admit that.
yeah,
And that kind of goes back to something we were saying about when I was talking about, my topic was focusing on the future and talking about how planning for things, and that really makes a big difference when you do plan for. And so putting that into your calendar for planning days and months, and how you're going to approach something, because that's an awful lot of stuff you have going on there, Michelle. So again, you have to you have to have that in your calendar and schedule, and things to have to work to flow together, and those pieces to fit together, because
exactly.
that's what it is. And it's all about that thing. You can accomplish all that stuff, but we just have to, it's all getting you to that end goal, that you are reaching for, and you see, because you envision all that all working together to give you the result you want. and that's
Exactly.
and that's what I say, is it all has to work together, and not be too far one direction or the other. And yeah,
Foundation has to be strong.
exactly.
And so oftentimes I think as entrepreneurs, we want to skip some of the steps in getting the foundation strong, because some of that is kind of boring. It's not feeding our soul and our passion, but you got to do it.
Right.
You
and,
know?
and that's one of the difficult things I work with clients, is to build that foundation, because sometimes there's a lot of work to it, and sometimes it's digging deep, and it can be emotionally trying, and some people just don't want to dig that deep. But to get that strong foundation built, you really have to do that. And talking about what I do when living our dreams and everything. I talk about, again, back to the um, sensory vision.
Yes.
And so with what I'm doing and what's helping, and I'm looking at another aspect of growing my business, because I was asking you about yours, is that I am also doing something in the virtual world as far as with doing things through the DBI and
Mm-hmm.
in a virtual world. And when you can see things in there, it's really crazy how it connects to you emotionally in the virtual world, and being able to, I will be having my here my office, my show background, because my show, I've been doing the recordings for my show now, the pre-records, but it's going to launch August 3rd, so it's coming right up that it's going to be on Monday through Friday. I'm going to be on, and it's going to get streamed to Facebook and all my social media. So everybody's going to get used to seeing this background, but also I'm going to have the same background that I have in my virtual world. So people will be able to, in avatar form, come and sit with me. My clients will be able to come and sit with me on the couch to have these deep conversations that I was talking about, to, find their purpose and just, their get their why, really dig in and find out, so that we can build their smarter plans for them to achieve their dreams and goals. So it's really amazing how that some people with dreaming, they have a harder time to do that. And in the virtual world, it might make it easier for some people. It really may, because then, they can add, when I said they can add these visions, the colors, the, when they can see it. If their dream was to own a home on a tropical island, and if that's how they were going to celebrate achieving their goal, to actually be able to see that, and hear the waves lapping, and see the palm trees willow, billowing in the breeze, all of those things help people put it in their mind more deeply, and so that they
Yeah.
can, they can see it, feel it, smell it, taste it, touch it, helping them to do that.
Yeah, and I think there's also such a huge place for virtual reality with individual, I mean, all kinds of individuals, but let's take those who are suffering from some sort of mental health issues.
Oh,
They've got PTSD, or there's
exactly.
anxiety,
Yep.
or you name it, and it's huge right now. So many people are suffering somewhere on that mental health scale, and it 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 allows them to be able to fulfill their dream, but still stay in that kind of that comfort zone that they may need to stay in. It may be just the catalyst that eventually will get them out, in the crowds or talking to people in person. But that's the thing to
Yes.
ease them out into that world. I think it's fantastic.
Yep. And on the flip side of that, for people who now all of a sudden are having to be inside, stay inside, and now what we're looking at for the education system throughout, I mean, for the world right now, with DBI LLC, we're working, and I'm working closely with the company to be able to bring virtual education as an alternative form of school for children all over the world. And then they can sit in the classrooms, just like you and I are sitting in front of our computers doing this recording. For them, the students, to be able to be sitting next to each other in a classroom at desks, and the teacher up in front of them presenting their course information. It's
Yeah,
phenomenal.
kids are natural to that because
Exactly.
they're already working with avatars in the gaming world, and I mean that's that's second nature for them. So I think it's a great opportunity for educating and bringing different world reality, being more global for the kids. That's all pretty cool.
Right, right. And then it doesn't matter, and the best part, I believe, it doesn't matter their skin color, religion, everything. They're all in there. They're in their avatar form. They don't know who or what the other one, what handicap they may have, whether it be a physical or mental handicap or whatever, situation with that, so that makes it so that they can be more inclusive and enjoy being children and as much as they can in having to be quarantined, because so many kids aren't getting to get out and have that social interaction right now. So it does make it's an important thing for them to be able to continue with that.
It's
Yeah.
eliminated.
Yes, exactly. With everything we can turn Michelle, between Michelle and I, we can turn anything from lemons to lemonade.
We're going to conquer the world, right, Patti?
Exactly.
Love it.
Well, wonderful. And this has been so great, chatting with you about this, because I know that, um, that Chelsea, with what her message is, she's talking about, spreading the love. She's talking about empowerment. She's talking about following your heart and living your dreams. And we put all this stuff into a nutshell as far as how we do it ourselves and how we help others to do the same thing. And so I just want to say, to the Best You Expo is something that's going to be able to touch so many lives. There's so many speakers on so many different stages, coming through this event, and I feel so blessed to be a part of this, and doing this with you, Michelle. And I know we're both bringing information and content, for to be able to be shared at, Chelsea's booth right here. So, again, I want to thank Chelsea very much for this, and we were very, very happy. I'm very happy, feel very blessed to have been able to be here with Michelle for this trip.
And thank you so much, and Chelsea as well, for giving us this opportunity, because certainly the messages that Chelsea has out there fit so closely into what we're doing, and so I'm thrilled to be a part of it.
Yeah. So, Michelle, do you have anything you want to give our people that have been
Yes,
with us?
I would say, I've got all kinds of things that I can offer up, to people, and some free things as well. But the easiest thing, just reach out, to me by email, Michelle, at lemonadelegend.com. My website is, lemonadelegend.com. So it's, you can even find my Facebook group, which is the Lemonade Stand Community. It's all searchable and really, really easy to find. And I would just love to hear from you, and anyone out there, and share what I do and what I can do to help you.
And what is your website? So can you give your website
Yeah,
information?
lemonadelegend.com.
Okay. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wonderful. Well, if anyone wants to know more about me, patriciajogrover.com, and all my social media can be found at www.pjg.vcardinfo.com. And that's where you can also get the link and the information about how to be booked to be a guest on my show. Because with what Michelle does, I actually help people, and on my show, we turn believers into achievers. So glad to have you guys with us. I have a text-in offer. If you text the word GOAL, GOAL, to 866-926-4020, I have gifts there for you that will help you. I have 7 steps to help you get started to achieve your dreams and goals. So thank you again, and we're going to show Chelsea's information here, because we do want to thank her again for this opportunity. And so again, here's Chelsea Cawley. She is the author of Be a Life Breather, and you can reach her at www.chelseacawley360.com. And she also has a gift for you. Text gift box to 26786 to order that gift box. And thank you guys so much for being with Michelle and I today. Bye-bye.